For so many reasons, because we get an opportunity to reacquaint ourselves with good friends. We get an opportunity to come here and share some good food, and certainly in a few moments we're going to hear the legendary Smokey Robinson, which is going to be a real treat, I know. And while those things are true, I think what we just heard from Dr. Kachura is the real reason why we're here. We're here to help Dr. Barnum, Dr. Kachura, and so many here in the audience who make it their life to do the thing they do best, and that's saving lives each and every day. And they're able to save lives each and every day because, just like Dr. Barnum did, they're able to get grants from the American Heart Association to fund their research, to make a difference, and literally to save lives. And the ability to move forward on those grants for the American Heart Association to do that is because people like you and I, we are willing to open our hearts to help fund this important research. And so for that, I certainly thank you. And in a few moments, I'm going to step aside and ask you to join me and Cindy and the stewards and many others to help fund this important research. We do it for so many reasons. We do it certainly in part to try and bring down those incredible statistics that we heard just a moment ago. But the reason we really do it is because those statistics represent real people. They're not statistics, they're real people who are suffering from the heart disease. And so those real people are husbands, their wives, their grandparents, and unfortunately, as we all know, sometimes their children. They're people like my mother who suffered a massive stroke in her early 50s. And frankly, only by the grace of God, she survived, but it changed her life forever. But I know all of us here tonight have our own personal story. There's no doubt that virtually everyone in here tonight has been touched in some form or fashion by heart disease, and that's why we're here, to help support the mission. And so, before I close and step aside, I want to share with you one more personal story. One more personal story about how heart disease affects real people and real families. So if you please, take a look at the screen and watch the story. Thank you.
It was about 4 years ago. I was watching a baseball game of our beloved Cardinals. Next thing I know, I took a minute and kind of looked over, and there was a new group of people sitting next to me and my friend, and one of them caught my eye, and I knew right then and there, before I left the bar, I was going to have to get that girl's phone number, and really that's how Rachel and I met. It was on our actual first anniversary. We actually went back to the location we met, and I got down on one knee and asked her if she'd marry me. I think she put the ring on before she finally said yes, and then she repeated yes about 4 or 5 times. It was no longer Brian and Rachel as two separate entities. It was Brian and Rachel as a family. Rachel was absolutely my soulmate. I remember the day that I found out Rachel was pregnant. I was so excited. She never complained. When she was in pain, she never admitted it. She was a perfect, a perfect wife, and I knew she could be a great mom. So we were at the hospital for 4 days. Rachel, being the trooper that she is, was recovering from the C-section faster than we ever could have imagined. Rachel was feeling fine. Cameron was just a wonderful baby, just a wonderful week that we spent together. I'll remember that morning for the rest of my life. I went outside, had Cameron in my arms, and had the dog with us. We were outside playing fetch, and all of a sudden the door opened, and I saw Rachel in the door joist, just kind of hunched over in pain. It was the worst moment of my life. I could tell that something was truly wrong. She kept saying that the pressure on her chest was unbearable. It felt like she was being stabbed or kicked in the chest and in the back of the arms. We were in the emergency room, and all of a sudden one of the monitors went off. It's just a short little beep and a short little buzz, but when I was talking to Rachel, I could see over her shoulder that there just became a massive scurrying of nurses and doctors, and within a minute they were all in our room. All I could think to myself was what it was going to be like for Cameron to grow up without a mom. I spoke to the cardiologist, and he informed me that Rachel had suffered from spontaneous cardiac artery dissection. A SCAD is again where your heart is completely fine, is fully functional, but at the moment of the SCAD that her LAD had dissected, when the LAD dissected, it caused 100% blockage of the heart. Nothing in life could have prepared me for that moment. You know, I was a dad for 8 days, still a fairly new husband, and on a flip of a switch, everything changed. I was, you know, wondering what it's going to be like, you know, as a single dad. Can I honestly do this by myself? It was a tough time, and it was, you know, my mind was racing, and I had no answers. I just had nothing but questions.
Thank you all very much. Thank you all for coming tonight. I know statistically speaking, just about everybody in this room has been affected by heart disease in one way or another. And because of that, I thank you very much for taking the time and listening to the story of how heart disease has affected my family. In the past, when asked the question, what was the best day of your life? The answer for me was always very, very simple. It was twofold. The day I got married, and the day that my son Cameron was born. Lucky for me, on April the 13th of 2011, I was very fortunate. On that day, I was able to add a third response to that question, and that was the day that Cameron's mom and my wife, Rachel, survived her heart attack. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Rachel.
Less than a year ago, I gave birth to my son Cameron and knew my life would never ever be the same. Little did I know how much it would change. 8 days after he was born, on April 13th, 2011, I survived a spontaneous coronary artery dissection and subsequent heart attack at the age of 28. I remember laying in the ICU with Brian by my side, hooked up to what felt like a million monitors, waiting for someone to have answers, and missing my newborn terribly. Unfortunately, there were no answers, and most of the studies that exist on SCAD are autopsies. The next day, my nurse spent time in my room explaining what living as a heart attack survivor meant for my lifestyle. I was so unfamiliar with the topic that she actually had to show me a diagram of a heart and what happens during a heart attack. I was stunned. I did not know how to process what she was telling me because I had my own idea of what heart disease looked like. I thought heart disease only affected elderly people who smoked or drank heavily, ate poorly, and never exercised. Heart disease didn't run in my family. I'm not old, I don't smoke. I had good eating habits and exercised regularly. I didn't have the common risk factors. But my assumptions about heart disease were wrong. It doesn't just affect those people. It had affected me. Getting involved with the American Heart Association has made a tremendous impact on my recovery. I have been able to meet other women with heart disease and take advantage of the tools and support necessary to live a heart-healthy lifestyle. I've had the chance to see my son's first smile, watch him learn to crawl and give high fives. I get to celebrate my 3rd wedding anniversary this year, as well as my 30th birthday. Because of the choices that I make today, I will get to see my son grow up. I have always felt very lucky that I survived, especially after hearing stories of those who did not. I thought that I was lucky to live in a city with great hospitals, and receive care from a doctor who recognized my symptoms and knew how to treat them. As I've learned more about the American Heart Association's work in St. Louis, I realized that it wasn't just luck, but their commitment to the community that made my survival possible. In order to create more outcomes like mine, the American Heart Association needs your support, and I am asking you to give generously this evening. Thank you for taking time tonight to listen to my family's story.
Can we do something about that spotlight? I need to see these people and I can't see them. I'm Tim Duggan, your auctioneer for this evening. I want to start out by thanking Brian and Rachel for their amazing story. We're very blessed that they were here with us. Your story is a reminder that heart disease can and does affect anyone at any age. David spoke earlier about the village, and it is all our responsibility to do our part. David and Thelma and the Stewart family live by those words, and I am thrilled to announce that they have offered us a $50,000 match this evening. Thank you, David and Thelma and the Stewart family, for your generosity. We have set a goal to raise $100,000 tonight. But along with David's donation, he urged me to challenge you to make that $125,000, which I think is doable. Everyone in this room has the opportunity to join David and Thelma and their family to be part of that village, to join the mission of the American Heart Association. Let's see how fast we can spend David's money. Who'll join David and Thelma in that village with a gift of their own of $50,000. Do we have anyone that would like to match their generosity with a $50,000 donation? Just stand up, raise your bid paddle, let us know any way you want to. Do we have any other $50,000 donors? All right, while you think about that, perhaps the secret is let's just get two at 25 and that'll be the same thing. Do we have any $25,000 donors? Simply raise your bid paddle if you'd like to donate 25. Did I miss anyone? All right, fair enough. How about 10,000? Let's see some bid paddles raised for $10,000. Do we have any $10,000 donors this evening? If we can get 5 of you, we've got our matching 50. Anyone for 10?